right, so I'm just gonna wait for people to join me. And then I will start and go over through all the things I have to share with you guys. So there are a lot of things I want to talk about. I did a lot of traveling, as many of you guys know, in Japan, and then I went to 2 different concerts. Let me see if I get the lighting a bit better. I don't think that improved. And I also have a lot of haul things that I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm not sure what you guys would like to see first, if I should go over hauls or go over my experience seeing Junho in Japan and Got7 in LA. Hello! Yay, people are joining. So let me know what you guys want to see. If you want to see some haul things, I had a Zen Market package come in the other day, or I guess really last week, as well as some other things, or I could just talk about whatever. My trip, the concerts I went to, and concert merch I ended up buying. As I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail I tried to create. I'm still new to the whole live stream thing. Oh, thank you. I don't think the lighting in here is probably making the video very good, but thank you anyway. But yeah. Oh, Ashley, you made it. I'm glad. So yeah. Okay, so I guess while people start to trickle in, I will maybe just share with you guys some things that have come in the mail. And so I did end up ordering a couple of things before I went on my trip. And I'm currently at my family's house since tomorrow I'm going to be leaving for Comic-Con down in San Diego. So this whole month, or really at the end of June, and then the first half of July has all been kind of vacation for me. So I've been up to a lot of things, which is why I wanted to do this live stream today before I go off and do more things. So let's start with things that I bought. So before I left for Japan last month, I ended up buying Dreamcatcher's new album. I've been really behind on a lot of Korean releases, and so I ended up getting this because on Yes Asia they had a lot of concert DVDs on sale, and they ended up listing 2PM's Genesis of 2PM Blu-ray, which I really wanted to get the Blu-ray because Blu-rays are a lot better than DVDs, even though I already own the DVD. And it was only like $20, which is really cheap for a Japanese Blu-ray concert, especially from 2PM. So I ended up getting this, and I got all of Shihan's photo cards. Let me share. I don't know if this will turn out well. I feel like I should turn a light on. It just got dark all of a sudden. So let me play around with that so the lighting's a little better. I will be back in a second. Hopefully that wasn't bad. I forgot the headphones had the mic on it. Anyway, so sorry if that was awful. But hopefully the lighting's a little better. It's glaring on that print up there. But anyway, so those are the 2 things I got. And hello, Andrea. And Comic-Con's a lot of fun. I could talk about Comic-Con too, if you guys want to know more about it. This will be my 7th year going to the San Diego Comic-Con. So I've been to it a lot, and it's a lot of fun, and it changes every year. I'm not too caught up on American pop culture, so I feel like Comic-Con is my way of kind of refamiliarizing myself with what's going on in pop culture over here. I just spend too much time on K-pop these days. But yes, so that was some things I picked up before leaving for Japan that I had shipped to my parents' house, so I would receive it when I got back. The other things I ended up buying right before I left for my trip were 2 promo CDs. And so I don't know if you guys have caught on my so on my channel, I was doing a lot of tutorials for different sites you could use. And so I was looking around Gmarket and some other kind of quasi Korean proxy sites. They're not really technically proxy sites, but they buy through different Korean retailers, and they compile things for you and ship out a single package through their services. And so I ended up finding some 2 promo CDs I really wanted. The first one was this FT Island one. And so this is their second Korean album, Colorful Sensibility. And promo CDs, there's not a lot usually different about promo CDs. It's just they're usually in a jewel case. And this is the album that has all the different, I don't have my collection with me right now, so I can't show you what the regular CD looks like. But it has all these different color bands and different booklets and inserts wrapped in a band or with a band wrapped around it. And so this is just the promo version of that. And it does come with the same kind of CD as the original and the little, I guess, leaflet. It's a little different. So you have, I think the images are similar. It's been a while since I've looked at my actual Korean press one, but that's what that looks like. And I got this for a good price. And Gmarket was also, they have coupons every now and then, so I got it for really cheap. And even with, I didn't do EMS shipping. They have like this logistic shipping, which I'm not really sure how that works. I think they send it through FedEx and then they forward it to the post office. At least that's what they did, I think, for this particular package I had made up. But yeah, and let's see, that jewel case almost looks more sturdy than the actual one, LOL. The packaging is, yeah, better than the original. The other one gets damaged, the Korean press one. Actually, mine has some damage on it. I just never, it's hard to find them in good condition, especially on the used market these days. But that was the first promo CD I got in that package. The other one was for this OST. And so this is the OST to 20, which is a movie Junho was in. And there's only 2 tracks on here. I'm not sure if that will come out at all. But Junho does have an OST track or a duet on here, which is why I really wanted, so it's track 2 actually, which is why I really wanted to pick this up. And it's an official one promo, so it has this promo sticker on. This one didn't have a sticker on it, so I'm a little skeptical about it, to be honest. But it was from, it does have a not for sale promo only, and this is a really old album, so I don't know if they did promo stickers back then or how that worked. But this one is a legit promo one, and it has the CD plate and a little insert. And I've seen them on eBay. Actually, I've seen someone, I want to say from Thailand or someplace, or Indonesia, selling one that was signed. But this is the first time I've actually seen a reasonably priced promo CD for this movie. And so I of course, had to snag that just to work on my Actor PM collection. And I really do like the song. I think there's a music video on YouTube you could find for that movie. But yes, that was my Gmarket haul. And Gmarket is a tricky place to use. I will do a tutorial for that at some point. It probably won't be for a while since I will be gone. And then I have all these other videos I want to upload probably before that one. But I will talk more in depth about Gmarket and how you should maybe consider going about buying them if you do want to use them, since there's some things I wouldn't buy from them, and then there's some things that may be a good thing to buy from them. So there's kind of pros and cons. And so those were things before my trip. During my trip, I wanted to buy some K-pop albums. I spoke last time in my last live how I was trying to look at Book Off, which is this known used bookstore that also has CDs and DVDs and everything else really in Japan. And they also have locations like in the US. I know there's one in New York, and I don't really know where else they're located or if they're in other continents. But they usually have very reasonably priced used CDs, and their K-pop selection is usually pretty extensive. At least that's how it appears online, and my experience going to one last year. But I was going through like a bunch of different locations in Tokyo, and there wasn't really much K-pop at all to be found. I even went to the flagship store in Shibuya, which is in Tokyo, and they're supposed to be known to have a lot of K-pop, but I think they were remodeling or something when I was going there. Like one of the floors was closed off, and I just didn't see any K-pop, or at least things I didn't own is the sort of thing. Hello. Okay, more people are joining. But I did find a few things in actually my last day of Japan at a Book Off in Osaka. And I ended up buying Lovely's new mini album, Healing. And so this is my first Lovely's album, which I'm really happy to have. Though I was looking through the photo book. The photos are really pretty, but I don't know. I feel like they're too touched up or something. I don't know if any of you guys own this mini album, but I don't really. Lovely's is a new group I've been trying to get into, so I don't really know the girls very well. And so the photo book didn't do much for me, but I really love the songs on this album, and I do plan to buy a few more of theirs. Probably all the releases post when they released Destiny. So that was, I forget the title of that mini album, but that one. So I ended up getting this one, and it was really cheap. It was only like $7, I think it came out to after tax and everything. And they did have multiple copies of this. So I think there was a fan who bought a bunch of these for photo cards and then just sold them to Book Off to resell. And I noticed that with a lot of things. So I saw a lot of like Uptension albums of the same sort of release, just multiple versions or multiple copies of it, as well as a lot of boyfriend things and Teen Top. So it was kind of interesting to see what I guess was available at these used Book Offs. And then the other thing I got was this copy of Junkei's special album. So for a fan meeting that he did last year, he released, I guess, the Japanese version of his Korean special album. So this is this album that he sung Your Wedding and No Shadow on. And the difference between this version is that it's in a jewel case. I think the photo book's really similar. I will have to compare it to my copy back in my apartment to see how different it is. And this also includes the Japanese version of Your Wedding. So I really wanted to get this because I've been trying to find this on Zen Market or some just proxy site for cheap, but it doesn't seem like many people resell 2PM's Japanese versions of Korean albums, really, or they're about the same price as like the original price. So glad I snagged this. Hello, Jazzy. You made it. I haven't been here for long, so it's cool. I'm just sharing a few albums I picked up. And that was it really for albums. So I guess I will go just quickly into Zen Market. So before I left for my trip, I found some things that I wanted to buy from Zen Market, and I shipped it out the day I got back. And Zen Market's kind of changed their shipping structure a little bit with DHL, but I ended up using DHL shipping because the package wasn't very big and it was pretty light. And so just quickly what I got, I guess the biggest thing was this 2PM fan club. It's the 5th term one. So I don't have any of the other fan club like box sets that they had from their Korean fan club. I only, I guess, signed up for the last one, the 7th one. So I only have goods from that. So I've been slowly trying to get all the other ones. And these came with postcards, which I put elsewhere. And then the other kind of big thing in that box was another copy of their Go Crazy. And I've been trying to collect the CD plates. And this was only like, I think 100 yen on Zen Market, and shipping was maybe around 300 yen for domestic shipping. So I thought, why not? And it has Jinkei's CD plate, if that's showing well. Yeah, so there's that. I only need now Kun's, Junho's, and Taekyen's CD plates, and I'll have all of them, which takes up way too much room on my shelf. I don't know why I'm collecting CD plates, and I probably shouldn't, especially if they continue doing multiple versions for whatever they're releasing after they get out. Anyway, the other CDs I bought were SF9's Mamma Mia Japanese singles. And so both of these were really cheap. I think I got these in a bundle for 200 yen, and shipping was probably around 300 yen as well. And they both came with Taeyong's photo cards. And so he's the member of SN9 I collect. And when it comes to differences of these two versions, they're both the CD only versions, but they come with a different B-side. So it's a different Japanese version of the album. And yeah, I was really happy to snag these. I feel like no one really buys SF9 goods on Zen Market. And so once something, mostly because I think a lot of people don't list things on Zen Market for SF9, it's mostly Mercari is where I find most SF9 goods being sold. And so once something does eventually, I guess, like every blue moon, when there's something on Zen Market for SF9, I feel like no one bids on it because they don't realize someone listed an SF9 thing. So I think that's why I snagged it for that price. And then the last CD I got, I posted about this on Twitter, actually, since it's a really good find. And that is this Genesis of 2 p.m. Fan Club edition. So I've been looking for this for ages, mostly because this fan club version the secondary market goes for about 5,000 yen is typically the price I see it. And what's different about the fan club version compared to the other just regular CD version of Genesis of 2 p.m. is that it comes with a fan meeting DVD from their Gazoo event. And so this is the event where they dress up as their Zoo PM characters and are really goofy. And I haven't watched the DVD yet. I will once I get back from Comic-Con. But I imagine it's wonderful. And it's like an hour and a half of this fan meeting. And I bet, and there's no subtitles on it, of course, because it's Japanese, but it should be entertaining to watch, to say the least. Yes. And so that was it for the CDs. I don't know if you guys really want to see all the photo cards I got. I put them in a bag so it's easy to transport when I get back to my apartment from my parents' place. I guess I will just show some highlights. Maybe I'll do that. Hello, Sana. I haven't been talking about much. I've just been sharing some things I purchased before my trip. And so these are all the postcards and things that came in that 5th term hottest fan club box thing. And what else did I buy? I bought basically the complete set of Junho's Dome concert cards. So there was a seller selling both sets. So the one where he's next to the clock and the white outfit. So all these, as well as the sweater ones. And they're just selling them all for a good price, like cheaper than if you were to buy these at the concert event. And I didn't have any, so I thought, why not? I should just buy them now because they're hard to find. And that's good. Let's see. I think so. With the Dome Tour, they also have cards with like unit cards. So they pair up the members and they have a bunch of different cards. I think there are 170 cards in total for that concert alone. It's ridiculous. And I just try to collect Junho's mostly. And I think all the unit cards he's featured in, I think there might be 20 of those. And I haven't started on those. Those go for way too much money. Eventually I'll work on those, but yes. And I will definitely be talking about the Junho concert. I just wanted to share all the things I got in my hauls, since I don't think I'll have an opportunity to do that once I get back, since I have all these other videos I want to upload and all these other new releases I want to share. But this is from Wooyoung's Busan concert. These won't be in order. These are the NCall Japan live photos you could buy. And all that. Let's see. Okay, there you go. And I bought some fan meetings things, or sorry, fan site things for Junkei and Junho. I'll have my photo card update sometime, probably September, where I'll share what all these look like in detail. This is also from Wooyoung's concert. They're little stickers. They're really cute. So I'll just kind of breeze through all these. All these are from Chansung's Complex concert. And so this is just one version. There's one where he has this flower and they're really pretty and I really want to get a bunch of those, but I haven't found a good bundle deal for those yet. And let's see. And then I got a small little photo book with Junho photos from the Feel era. This is really awkward to show photos, but let's see if this works. So, like those. My goodness. So many active people in this chat. Anyway, stickers and things. Gosh, this is so boring. Sorry, guys. But yeah, these are just some of the concert goods. I'll of course post an update of my photo card collection so you can see these in all their glory, I guess. But let's see. I guess I'll talk about the concert now, since you guys probably want to hear mostly about that. So for Junho's concert, I discussed this in my last live. I was really concerned about actually finding a concert ticket. It's this being his last summer tour. It seems like everyone wanted to see him before it ended. I think this is the most thing I've been seeing. How am I throwing shade at us? Maybe a little bit. But I think this is the most trolls I've seen in a chat for one of these things. That's so funny. Oh, it's cool. I don't mind. They're easy to ignore. But anyway, concert. So I spoke in my last chat how I was really concerned about getting a concert ticket. And I kind of downplayed how it would be okay if I didn't snag a concert ticket. So really, it probably would have ruined my entire trip, really, if I didn't get to see him. And so I was really lucky, actually. So someone contacted me about having a spare ticket because their friend couldn't make it. So this was a Japanese hottest, and she didn't know very much English. And so she did a lot of like Google translating and tried to communicate with me, which was really sweet. She was actually really nice. We ended up having lunch on the day of the concert, and she gifted me things. Like she gave me one of the venue cards, actually. If you pre-order his CD at the venue, if you're part of their Japanese fan club, you can, oh my goodness, this is hilarious. Is this like a popular time to like troll YouTube lives? Anyway, but she was really sweet, and she gave me this card of Junho, and she bought my lunch for me, and she gave me a discounted ticket. She was so nice, and it was really interesting talking to someone from Japan who's attended his concerts for like the past, let's see, I think she saw him during his debut in Japan. So that, what was that, 2013? Yeah, 2013, which it was really nice to talk to her. And it was really cute when she was trying to think of how to say something to me in English. She would put it on her phone and translate it. And then I think all the venues I've been to in the past were all seated. And so how this worked was you get a number for the fan club tickets at the specific venue. So the venue I ended up seeing him was actually his opening, or the first stop in Nagoya. And so I went to Nagoya last year to see FT Island, but this was at a different venue. This was at the ZEP, which is really close to the station, or the train station. And last year when I saw FT Island, that was at the arena. Actually, Jae-jun was from JYJ was performing the same night in the arena, so it was kind of interesting how all these acts were here at the same time. Not that it would have been cool to see Jae-jun, but I was definitely there to see Junho and would spend money to see Junho. And I tried to see him on the second night, but again, it was really hard to find concert tickets, it seemed like, this summer. And he's just been really steadily growing his fan base. And so just the venue size, I think, was somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 people. So it was a really kind of intimate venue. And because it was standing, my number was about, I think, I have my ticket somewhere, but it was like 1,100. And so that's considered a bad number, is what the person who sold me the ticket told me. But honestly, I got really close to him just on the standing floor. And I had a really good view because I was a little bit taller than most of the other fans there, which was nice. But I think, let me see. I feel like I'm really bad at judging distances, but I had a really good view. I wish concerts in Japan is you can't take pictures or any kind of filming usually. That's not allowed. And I didn't see anyone with their phones out really at any time. I know there's some people who do fan cams because I watch them all the time on YouTube. And I guess they have to sneak those in. I'm not really sure how that works. But yeah, I couldn't really judge the distance really. Yeah, the Japanese hotels was really, really nice. Actually, they were all really nice. Most of them didn't speak English at all, but they were very friendly to me when I was standing in line for the goods. And it was a really nice experience. It's really, I guess, humbling to go to another country, and especially being just out of your element. Like, I don't speak any Japanese. I just know a few phrases to get by. And it's just so nice how polite everyone was, and they were very nice, and just everyone was really excited just to see him. And the other interesting thing was, because it was a standing event, I was a little, I guess from last year after seeing FT Island, I knew kind of how calm Japanese fans were. So I wasn't really worried of people like pushing it all, and it was definitely not the case, or it was definitely still the case when I saw Junho. So when I was, so everyone, once they lined up into the venue and some specific spot, everyone just kind of stood their ground. There was no pushing, no shoving. The fans are much older, so maybe that's why everything was much chiller. And they've seen him. This is like this was it the 6th summer that he's done it, his 7th solo concert. So I guess everyone was just really chill and just really excited to see him on his opening night. So that was just a lot of fun. And it was really refreshing, again, just to kind of go to a Japanese concert and not have to worry about getting elbows in your back or not being able to see very well and all that. But I could share more goods before I talk about, I guess, the concert itself. So I ended up going a bit crazy with buying things. I did know that I was probably going to spend quite a bit of money on some things because they released like on Twitter what the goods were. And so I ended up buying this t-shirt. So there's 2 different options. I got this one since in person, when you're standing in line to buy the goods, they have everything kind of out, so you could see them in person before you go and commit and buy it. And so they had all the t-shirts like out on a hanger, so you could kind of touch it and kind of see what size you would be. And I ended up going for the large because I like my t-shirts really roomy, and the medium was just kind of short, or I think it would have been too short on me. So the large fit really nicely, and I was happy with that. And other goods I ended up getting was this keychain. So there's 3 possible keychains you could get. I picked this one, even though the other 2 were really nice too, mostly because this was just speaking to me when I saw it in the display case out front. And I really liked him in the red suit, so I went with the pen in the red suit. I almost bought the one with the blindfold because I think it's just hilarious how they have these pins, which is Junho's character, if you're not familiar with ZooPM, just blindfolded. And they had a really cute ice cream one too, but ice cream is kind of the theme from last summer, so I wanted something a bit more of this new album. So that's why I went with that one. And I also bought cards, of course. I only limited myself to 10 of these random envelopes, mostly because I didn't want to buy a bunch of duplicates, because I have the biggest, I have so many duplicates of cards that do not sell. And oh my goodness. I think this is like a record for K-pop. I don't know, like everyone else who's done lives before, how many like trolls have you guys gotten? I would like to know. But anyway, these were the cards I ended up getting. I did share these on Twitter, so I guess. And then when I do my thing, my photo cards collection update, you can see them a little bit better. But I just adore this concept, guys. He's so adorable. Let's look at him. I think that was this one. So I plan on getting more of these, of course. I'm just going to have to buy them on proxy sites, so I make sure I don't get duplicates and I don't get stuck with duplicates I can't sell, is to sum that up. And let's see. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys are monitoring it because I'm really bad at reading comments. Anyway, and so I ended up getting this, they call it a muffler. It's like a cheering towel, and it says Flashlight, which was what his concert name was. And they had different ones for each venue, actually, which was really cool. So this is the only one you could buy at Nagoya. So just that city. And this was actually my favorite design. So it was kind of fortunate that I was able to go to that one. And so they have, it's going to be read probably backwards, but the date. So I saw him on 6:30 at the Zepp Nagoya place. And the most exciting thing I probably got, which was in the thumbnail, I'll probably have to edit that thumbnail later, but was the pen cushion. So I didn't have plans to buy this because I knew it was going to be big and bulky, but when I saw it in the display case, I really couldn't help myself, and I'm glad I bought it. It's really cute and squishy. It's kind of like a bean bag, you know? sort of that feel, but it's so cute. Goodness. What is that now, 5? Wow. Anyway. And what else did I end up getting? So I think that was it for the goods. And then I got this little message card if you buy like over 10,000 worth of goods, which I probably obviously did, especially if you look up the prices on the Twitter thing they post for the goods. So they have a message card, and I don't know how many messages they have at random. There's at least 4 of them, and this one, I looked it up. I think it's something about him wanting to meet hottest at any season or at all the seasons, since he usually just has solo tours during the summer. Though earlier this year, he did have a winter summer tour, which was cool. But I guess he's excited to maybe end the summer tour that he's been doing, since he doesn't really like summer and he doesn't like when it's hot. So maybe he'll consider doing solos at other times of the year. But yes, I love these goods. ZooPM is like my favorite thing, which I try to downplay it since it's so silly, but as a lot of people here, they really love it too. And so it's, yeah, what I liked. Yes, you guys all like ZooPM. So I try. Yeah, I'll still probably downplay it since it's a little silly, and I don't want to be too gaga over it, but it's really adorable. And as I mentioned earlier, when I got my fan club's CD for Genesis at 2 p.m., I really want to watch the fan meeting where they dress up as ZooPM characters. I'm really excited. And it was also cool that outside the concert, there were some fan sites there distributing goods. So I ended up getting this fan. And so I don't think this is a fan site. It says here that they took a photo from a fan site, but it's designed by someone else. So it's kind of interesting. And I got a photo too, which I've misplaced, but it was of some press conference that he had for his new drama, which I just watched the first half of it actually before the live stream, and it's almost over. But yeah, so that was it for goods and things. And I agree, ZooPM is really silly and adorable, so it's kind of hard to not love it. I don't really know any hottest who don't like ZooPM. There must be some, but yeah, I don't see that as a thing. And let me look up the track list, or sorry, the set list, because I had a lot of feels throughout the concert, and I'll try to recall what went down, since it was a while ago. It was a couple weeks ago since I saw him on the 30th of last month. So let's see. This might take a second. I should have had this up earlier. Okay. That is not that concert. Wrong one. Here it is. All right. So what was interesting about this specific concert is that I was expecting it to be like his other ones, where it's mostly to promote the new album. But this one was a little different in that, I guess because it was his last summer tour before he has to enlist, he wanted to sort of do a memory lane kind of theme, where he would perform a lot of songs that he's written and all of his title tracks, rather than focus on the new album. So there are a few new songs from the new album, but from what I could tell from some other fan account translations, it seems like he was just going to perform 3 new songs during these first few concert dates, and then when he has his final tour in September, or I guess late July and September, he'll perform the other ones. So hopefully we'll have stages for all the new songs, but we'll have to see how that goes. But he started off with a medley intro remix. I'm trying to remember what that was. I think I was just amazed to see Junho in person, that it probably didn't register what the medley was. I guess the true opening was So Good, which was off of his third solo album. And this is, I guess, it's a dance track. And this entire kind of first segment was a lot of him just dancing while singing, which I think it's a good way to start a concert, especially if it's just a solo concert. You get so exhausted towards the end. I wouldn't really want to do a lot of dance heavy tracks at the end, but he kind of did, which I'll get into. And then he did Candy and Ice Cream, which was off of his last summer solo album. And so those are very fun and light, and it was just really cute to see him on stage and dancing and just seeing him in person. So this is the first time I've seen any 2PM member live in a concert, and let alone just Junho. So I was experiencing a lot of feels. And maybe I should have done one of these live streams right after the concert so I could recall a little bit better. But it was the first 2PM member I saw, and my favorite, my ultimate bias. It was perfect. Though it's kind of making me hungry to see more, especially if the other 2PM members solo concerts, and of course a group 2PM concert. I'm definitely having plans to save up for their post enlistment group concert whenever that happens in Seoul, in I guess 3 years from now would be my guess. And then he went into Give It To Me, which was the first song he wrote for 2PM on one of their Korean albums. So this was on their Hands Up album, and it was also an OST for a movie he was in. Once you have the first concert, you get hooked. That is true. I could see myself flying out to Japan more often just to watch them, and also in Korea whenever I get the chance, and of course have the funds to do so. But I totally agree. Concerts are very addicting. I follow a lot of hottest on Twitter, and that seems to be what they do. They try to save up money, and they don't really buy anything like merch-wise just to go to these concerts, which I really envy them that they've been able to do that. For me, it's been really hard to find time to go abroad just for a concert because I'm finishing up my grad school dissertation. So that should hopefully be done soon. I'll have a steady job with more vacation time. So hopefully that will allow me to do that more in the future, but we'll see. And I do love it when they perform their own group songs they write. So Give It To Me was a group song that he did a solo of, or the solo version of. He did that a few more times. He did it for, he also performed Nobody Else, and Wow, which I guess he released a solo version of that on his CD from last year. And Set Me Free and 0 Point. So it's fun when you see this kind of, I guess, the originally intended song. Or I've always been curious if the members, whenever they have these group songs that they have solo versions of, I'm guessing that they wrote them in mind to perform them with the group, and so they kind of have different parts to play off the strengths of the different members when they write them. But it's just interesting how they interpret it just by themselves in the solo version. And the first song off the new album that he performed was After Give It To Me. And It's called Bye Bye. And so this is actually the Japanese version of a Korean song off of Canvas. And so this was the duet he had with, I believe her name is Cheese or something. I'm probably saying that wrong. And so it was really interesting just to hear not only just a solo version of that song, but also in Japanese. And it sounded a lot different, actually. So that was interesting to hear. And it's also interesting to hear a Japanese version of a Korean song, because for 2 p.m., they release so many things in Japan first, and then they make Korean versions of it. I'm kind of used to that direction of how the songs go. But this time around, we have kind of, I guess, what's typical, the Japanese remake of a Korean song. So that was kind of interesting. And then there was a little bit of, so I pulled up the set list here, and I think the person has it wrong. I think after Bye Bye, instead of What You Want, he performed Darling, which that kind of killed me when he performed that. I don't know how many of you guys have listened to Junho's new album, but the song Darling has these lyrics that I don't really want him to sing to me. It'll make it sound bad, but it's basically I don't want to sing it, but he sings like, would you marry me? And just sickeningly sweet lyrics. I'm like, please, I didn't give you permission to sing this to me. And so I was dying when he was performing that. It was a little awful, to be honest. And also just the studio version that I can't help but, I guess, cringe inside whenever I listen to it. I love most of the song. It's just when you hit the chorus with the "Will you marry me" part, I'm like, please stop. I do not need these fantasies. Yes, Sana, you need to listen to it. I've just been listening to, I actually have the CD here. I'll do a full unboxing of this new CD when I have the other 4 versions in my hands. So this is just version B with all the songs minus the title track Night version remix, which is on the fan club version. But yes, I've been having this on repeat, and it's amazing, especially after seeing a couple of these perform live. It's just, I think this is going to be a very sentimental album for me. But yes, let's not talk about Darling anymore. I guess once you guys listen to it, you'll know exactly what I mean. And so after that, he did Kimi no Koe, which was his Japanese solo debut. And it was really cool because it was like a rock version of it, which I love. I love it when Junho does it's not really rock music, it's more pop rock. But for the sake of, or for comparison of what 2 p.m. usually does, it's more rock than what they typically do. And so it was really awesome just to hear that with a live band. And actually, it was also just cool just seeing his live band. So his live band has been with him for years, and there's just 4 members, and you see him in all the concert DVDs and photo ops, and it was really cool just to see them interact with him. It was really cute. There were some really cute interactions throughout the concert. I'll talk about it after the songs. And then it says there was a Feel remix, which I remember it was kind of standard sounding, and then there was maybe a breakdown from Feel, which was his second title track in Japan. So that was really cool to see, since I think that's arguably one of my favorite title tracks from Junho. For me, a lot of the times I prefer his B-sides more than his title tracks that has music videos with them. And not to say that the title tracks aren't good. I just feel like the B-sides are much better, or maybe they're more my style. That could be it. But Feel is a lot of fun. I was glad that he performed that one. And kind of going more into his past, he performed Say Yes, which I feel like he performs that every single concert. I'll need to double check that, or every single solo concert. I'll need to double check on that. But this is, if you haven't seen the live version of Say Yes, there's this one point where he does this high note that he holds he holds his high note for like ages, and then afterwards he takes his inner ear out just to hear the crowd chant his name. And he's such a ham in person. Oh my god. Like I knew that from watching concert DVDs that he just loves when fans cheer for him, but just seeing it in person and just him kind of egging them on to like chant for him, it was kind of funny and a bit of an eye roll moment, but I loved it and I chanted along with them. It was good. It was a good energy, and it's kind of his signature thing to do. So that was fun to see and experience. And then finally we get into the new songs that isn't a Japanese remake. And so he performed Imagination or Imagine or Sozu, I think is how you say that in Japanese. I could be totally butchering that. He does say it in the lyrics there, so I probably should have paid attention more to that. But I agree. He is such a goof. I'll talk about this one like talk time that was just too much. I'll talk about it after the songs. But that one was the epitome of ridiculous Junho. But Imagination. So this is the title track for the new album with the music video. And so the music video is very, seductive since it's basically a fanfic brought to music video form. So music video, I was expecting him to come out with like the blindfolds, like that card I was showing you, like here. I was expecting this Junho to come out on that stage. Instead, he was in his red suit, which was really flashy. It wasn't the red suit that you maybe have seen in teaser pictures. It had all these like sequins and things, so it was very fancy looking. But there wasn't very much choreo to it. His backup dancers, which it was kind of cool to see them too, because I've seen a few of them in concert or his previous concert DVDs. So it's kind of like with the band members. It was kind of just cool to see the entire group there for his solo concert all together at once. But for but for Imagine, he was basically kind of, it was still very seductive, but not at the level I was expecting. Or I kind of was hoping, I guess it's more accurate. But it was still Junho knows how to smolder, and when he wants to be sensual, he could be very sensual. And so it was definitely that. But he was mostly on the mic stand while the backup dancers were dancing. But there was a little bit of choreography in there, but it wasn't very much, which was fine. I was just slightly disappointed there was no blindfolds. Though he did do blindfolds for his 2015 concert for his song Pressure. So maybe he didn't want to do it again, which is fine. Though I could talk about GOT7 too. So I went to GOT7 right after I came back from Japan. There was this VCR for GOT7. And they were all blindfolded. I'm like, why couldn't Junho just have done this? But to continue on with Junho, right after Imagine was he performed Flashlight. So this is the title of his tour. And this is, I believe, the third song. Let me double check. The second song on his new album, and it's a lot faster and more kind of exciting than the first song. So when I do my unboxing for this album, I'll talk more in depth, I guess, about the songs. But it was really cool to see kind of the stage of this, and this was definitely my favorite, this is definitely one of my favorite new songs from him. And there wasn't very much choreography again with this new song. It was mostly just him on the mic stand and just a lot of just light play that was going on with just emulating, I guess, flashlights kind of just beaming down on him. And it was really cool looking. And that was definitely one of the highlights of the night. And during the new songs, all the Japanese hottest, they were all very quiet just so that they could kind of take in what was new. Instead of, so all the other songs, they would be kind of like chanting. And I didn't show you guys my light stick. I just realized I got to this light stick. But anyway, they were holding this light stick. And everyone was just doing this basically with the beat. So everyone was very calm, but just doing this with their light stick. Yes, this light stick is ridiculous, and I love it. But during Flashlight and Imagine, they were very quiet. They just kind of held their light stick in front of them. And I think they even did, like, they dimmed down the light even just so they could take in the new stage. And they're all very quiet. And like after he performed these songs, I feel like Junho was like, wait, do you guys like this? But everyone was kind of like gasping at the end of Flashlight, saying, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" And I heard so many like "sugoi" and like Japanese like explanations of just like, oh, this was awesome. And I totally agree. It was an awesome stage. Um, Kun might have his own light stick. He may. There, he's has an album coming out, and there might be goods. He might even get his own plush. I don't know if you guys keep up with 2PM goods, but a lot of times, if one of these 2PM characters gets something, it's going to happen usually for the other ones too when they get their solo concerts. So he might get his own flashlight, though. Junho, I think, is the only member who has his own individual flashlights for solo concerts. I don't think any of the other members have their own flashlights or light sticks. Sorry, how am I saying flashlights? Usually, Japanese hottest, they have their own color ones. It's like there's a group light stick with different colors. And so each group or each member has their own color. So usually they bring those to their solo concerts. But Junho, he usually just has a new light stick for every concert since he does it the most often. But you never know. Like, there might be a Koala-kun one if he does a Japanese album with Japanese concert stuff. But who knows? And then after Flashlight, he performed Insane and Nobody Else, which are favorites of mine. It was really great to see those live. Especially, I think, Insane. Well, Nobody Else, I really love Nobody Else. And that's, again, one of his very sensual songs. And he did dance with a partner. He just kind of did his own solo version, which he's been doing for a while. It would have been cool to see him do something a bit more sensual like he did for his 2015 concert where he was shirtless. I don't know if you guys have seen these fan cams. And he was dancing with one of the female dancers, and it's quite something. And then after some talk time, he did Winter Sleep, which was his last title track for his winter album. And that was very lovely. I really like that song. It's a different feel from the rest of what he was performing, which was much more upbeat and poppy with a little bit of rock influence thrown in there. And then he did Fire, which I think is Junho's favorite song to perform, he said. Or he said in some interview, this is one of his favorite songs he's written and performed. And this is actually the song that I really started paying attention to him back in 2015. So that's when I didn't have a 2PM bias. And then Junho came out with his one album, and he was performing on all the music shows with Fire. I'm like, who is this? And that's kind of how it started, for those who didn't know. And then after Fire, it was Canvas, the Japanese version, naturally, since that came out before the Korean version. Another talk segment. And then these next three were a lot of fun. He performed Crush, Wow, and Hyper back to back. And so these are very intensive, really fun dance songs. And Crush has a lot more rock elements, which was really cool to hear live, actually. And then Wow, I really love his solo version of Wow. So Wow is off of his 2PM's Promise I'll Be single album. So that was the last single they released as a group in Japan. And I personally prefer Junho's solo version over the group version. So they both are good. And then Hyper was right after that. And Hyper is one of my favorite Junho songs. And it's one of the songs I put on to get hyped for something. And it was nice to hear. And I think, I'm trying to remember correctly, I think he did he rap Jun K's parts? I think he did. I could be recalling incorrectly though. And then they played this VCR of just Junho and kind of, again, kind of going with the theme of looking back on memory lane of all of his time touring in Japan, and just all these cuts of him from various promotions. And I'm trying to remember what song they played during that. I feel like it was something on the new album. It could have been What You Want. I'm going to have to refer back to fan cams to recall this. It's awful when you go to a concert and you're so set on trying to remember everything, and then everything's very fresh in your mind, and then it sort of kind of dwindles away a little bit. It's sad, but I guess that's why they have concert DVDs you could buy, so you could relive it, which I definitely plan on doing. So then after the VCR, he did some solo songs, since he didn't really do a ballad yet. Winter Sleep, it was the closest to a ballad he performed all night, and I really do love Junho with his ballads. He performed Don't Go No No No, which isn't my favorite of his slower songs. I really love. I was kind of actually hoping he would perform his solo version of Time Spent Together, because that is just a beautiful song, and it's one of my favorite 2 p.m. songs. But I guess because he performed that during his Winter Sleep concert, that's why we didn't see that. But that was okay. And then he performed. So this is during, the what do you call this? I'm blanking. So this was at the end of the concert during the encore performance. So he was out with all the, his solo merchandise you could buy. So the concert tour T-shirt, and he was kind of blinged out with all the pen stuff that eventually he threw out into the crowd very cutely. So then after that, Don't Go No No No. He performed Set Me Free, which is such a fun song. I love it when he does a solo version of it. And then you could hear the 2 p.m. members' parts during it. And he's very cute with emphasizing each member's specific part. And then he had a nice long talk time. Did a fan site upload fan cams already? I don't believe so. So typically, I think someone posted a video. It was a short version of it I saw on Twitter. But typically, I think the common sort of agreement amongst all the fan sites is that they wait till till the entire tour is over before posting any fan cams. That's traditionally how everything's been. I did see something float around on Twitter. I don't know if that was from a fan site, though. That may have been from just another fan who took a video. I'm not totally sure. But I imagine fan cams will be coming out after the September tour, or the finale, or I think it's just called the final stop, which is at a bit bigger venue. But yes, I'm looking forward to those. There's one in particular I'm looking forward to. I know she attended a few shows because she's been tweeting about it. And she has the best fan cams. I really love her YouTube channel. And she doesn't make any DVDs or anything. She just, I don't know if she's even a fan site. I think she's just a fan cammer. She has the best fan cams. I'm excited for those. And then after a very long talk time, so Junho doesn't usually talk a lot during his during the chatting times, I guess. I think it's hard for him to be sentimental just by himself out there. But I think he put a much more of an effort to do so for this concert tour. And it was actually pretty sweet, even though I didn't really understand 100% what he was saying. I picked out some phrases, and then just kind of the general consensus of how everyone else was reacting. I kind of understood what he was getting at. And then I read, there's some people right after I got back from the concert who was translating all these other from some type of, what do you call it? Not a live stream, but the audio stream. So that was nice to kind of see right afterwards what he said exactly. And then the last song he performed was 0 Point, which was a song he helped work on for their Grown album. And it's one of my favorites too. And it was kind of a little sad. He got a little teary-eyed, I think, during that song. And what happened was after the credits played during the concert, they played the instrumental to one of his slower songs. Why am I blanking on the name? I think it's Always With You. Is that what is called? I'm awful. I'm forgetting the name of the song, but everyone kind of joined in and sang that during the credits when he was off stage. But of course, I'm pretty sure he would have heard everyone singing. It was very loud. Everyone singing and crying. It was a very emotional ending, actually. I'm getting a little teary-eyed thinking about it, actually, which I'm not like much of a crier, but that was a very heartwarming and sad a little bit part during the end there. But yeah, that was the concert for the most part. And during one of the talk times, he was very playful with all the backup dancers, with his band, sort of kind of playing little jokes on them and kind of teasing them a little bit, which Bratty Junho, he likes to tease people. And there was this one time, or during one of the talk sessions, he was trying to communicate with fans, and they were all kind of egging him on to do something cute. And so he was doing all these kind of like poses and like throwing out like finger hearts, and it was really cute. I really hope someone captured that in some sort of fan cam somewhere. I'm sure they did. I think he did it on multiple stops from what I could tell. Maybe he did it at all the stops. I feel like he probably did, since we all were just kind of gagging over it during the first night. But yeah, and all of that was just, again, it's kind of hard to talk about these concerts, especially if I don't have like a visual explanation of what I saw, and I don't really recall everything with 100% accuracy. But it just left me such a good feeling, and I really wanted to see him again because I was there in Japan for 2 more of his stops, but again, it was just really hard to get tickets. But I was really happy that I managed to see him when I did, and I had such a really wonderful experience. And it will be a moment that I will definitely treasure for a very long time. And hopefully that will kind of hold me up, I guess, before another concert, or I guess really just when 2 p.m. comes back at 6, and has some more concerts, and hopefully they'll go on some world tours and come back to the US because I missed them when they were in the US. So it would be nice to see them here. But yes, that was the concert. Do you guys have any questions? I feel like I've just been rambling and talking, and I'm not very good at storytelling or talking, which is why I edit a lot of my videos, because I don't really say very many interesting things, I don't think. But yes. And it doesn't have to be a question about Junho's concert. It could just be anything about what I did in Japan, because last time I left you guys, I was talking about a few things that I was doing in Japan. Oh, thank you, Ashley. I'm glad you found it interesting. I never considered myself a very good storyteller, which is why I don't like film a lot of videos with my face, because it's a lot harder to edit these videos. I edit my videos a lot because I have too many, and it takes me a while to kind of process my thoughts and say it eloquently. Even after editing a lot of my videos, I don't think I say things as eloquently as I would have liked to. But that's how it goes. But yes, I've been talking for over an hour. That's a long time. I didn't talk about GOT7. You guys want to hear about GOT7? So, oh, thank you. The other Ashley. So many Ashleys. Let's see. For GOT7, so GOT7 I saw at LA in the Forum, which it's still amazing to see them fill up the Forum, which has, I think, how many seats was it? 17,000 seats. And it was just crazy to see all the green light sticks just fill up that entire space. My first K-pop concert I went to was, to Ash. That's cute. But yes, the first concert, or K-pop concert rather, I went to was Big Bang, which was at the Staples Center, and I'm trying to remember how big that was, but that did not sell out. It was very full, and it was one of the most energized concerts I've been to, maybe before GOT7. But yeah, GOT7 was just another level of kind of experiencing K-pop just on that scale alone. And I ended up going with my friend who I've known since elementary school, and I've been trying to get her into K-pop. I actually dragged her to that Big Bang concert and a few other ones, but unsuccessfully really getting her into K-pop. She liked a few songs, but I don't think the whole fandom thing or getting really deep into groups was really something that would appeal to her at the time. But then randomly, she told me the story. She went, I guess, with her parents to this Chinese food restaurant right after we came. So before I talked about going to see FT Island last year in Japan. So I was actually traveling with the same friend. We went to Korea and then Japan, and for a short bit. And she, right after that trip, at a Chinese food restaurant, she heard this random song and she didn't know what it was, but she really liked it. And she assumed it was Chinese, but it ended up being one of GOT7 songs. I want to say it was either Hard Carry or If You Do. It was one of those songs. I don't know how she thought that sounded Chinese, but I think she just assumed because she was in a Chinese restaurant, they would be playing a Chinese song. But ever since she discovered that was actually a K-pop group, she went down the huge GOT7 kind of rabbit hole, and that's kind of the only group she pays attention to. Though right now she's liking BTS too. So I expect this rabbit hole to go even further down, or I expect her to go further down this rabbit hole. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that develops. But yes, of course, she is a smart girl. And she really likes Taehyun from BTS right now. Though I feel like, I don't know if you guys experience this with other people who are not multi-fandom or not into K-pop for very long, but they see K-pop very artificially. Like, I feel like the only reason why she really likes some of these members is just their appearance, which is not a bad thing. It's just sometimes talking to them, you're like, you kind of just question why they are really into something. And especially if it's not for the same reason, maybe as your own. Like I'm someone who when I get into a group, I want to listen to all their songs. I want to dive deep down into their discography and see kind of how I like them as artists. And then watch variety and see how I like their personalities. I feel like she was a little perverse, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It was just a little odd because just seeing my friend kind of experience something different than what I had. She was definitely a hard stand. The weird thing is, for GOT7, she really loves JB because of his face, I'm pretty sure. And also Jin Young. After the concert, she was very much a hard stand for Jin Young. But she was telling me after watching all the real GOT7 things, how soft she is for Young Jae. I'm like, okay, you're giving me mixed things here. I'm so confused. But it was kind of cute just to watch her development into K-pop. I don't really see her breaching out much more into K-pop because I think she's limiting herself. She doesn't want to get as deep, I guess, maybe as me, which I can't blame her for. But it's just interesting to see just different reasons for fans and kind of what you don't see online, or as what other people relay online of how they get into, I guess, K-pop. But yes, I wanted to go to this concert because, for one, I do like GOT7 a lot. I collect them, if you've seen my collection, and JB is also my bias, and so I really wanted to see him, and along with the other guys, because they're 2PM's little brother group. Naturally, I would like them, I think. And so I ended up going to the concert with her, and also her other friend, who she got into GOT7. Her friend is a very big Mark stan, and a very hard Mark stan. It was weird getting into or having conversations with them about K-pop, or really just GOT7, because when it comes to variety shows, GOT7 was one of the first groups I got into for just Korean variety shows in general. So I kind of knew their earlier variety stuff really well. But the more recent things, not so much, though I'm up to date with their music. And so just kind of hearing them talk about GOT7 was enlightening, I guess, from that different perspective. And also, like, I know, like, usually we kind of we say like younger fans maybe have a different perspective when it comes to K-pop, and they have a lot of, like, hard stan feels than maybe older fans do. At least that we see online. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't really follow a lot of younger groups closely with younger and older stans. But like, my friend is the same age as me, and I'm almost like 28. So it was just kind of weird hearing her say these things about the group. But enough about that. It was really fun, the concert. I won't go into a play-by-play because there's so many other people who probably had better fan accounts than me at the same concert. But I thought they did a really good job of just kind of showing their growth as a younger K-pop group. I thought all of their stages, it was like, I haven't really seen a lot of live GOT7 videos. I do have their concert DVD. They're from, I think it's Fly to Seoul, which honestly I haven't really watched, even though I own it, and it's really bad. I meant to watch it before I actually went to this past concert, but I was pretty impressed with their live vocals and stage presence. And they were just they had a really fun, like, MC part too, even though some of it was a little bit corny for me, which is typically what happens, I think, at these shows. There's going to have to be some kind of corny moments that I guess are supposed to be cute, which they are, but they're still corny. And I really liked the remix stages. So they had, I guess, for the encore, where so I was seated in P2, and the LA Center, it was all seated, I believe. So there wasn't like the fiasco that happened at Houston, I believe, with trying to line up for the the GA kind of standing. And so everything was fairly calm, I guess, in that regard with the seated venue. How old are GOT7? I think they debuted in 2014. So yeah, you hear about GOT7 a lot because that's what, I guess, they're one of the popular groups nowadays. So that's what you typically hear about. What was I saying? Oh, so P2, I actually had a really good seat. So it was really hard to actually obtain these tickets. So I actually couldn't sit with my friend, and the friend that she took to the concert too. Unfortunately, it was kind of like with BTS, if you guys are familiar with that ticketing. It's just everything was really hard to get. Like, BTS, I think, was probably harder than GOT7, but GOT7, was really difficult to obtain tickets. And so I had pretty good P2. Sorry for the flashbacks. But let's see. But they had the regular stage. So this is the concert hall and the stage is here. So they had the regular stage where they performed a lot of the more choreography intensive stages, like from their title tracks. And then they had this little area they walked out towards. And so whenever they walked out towards that little center stage, I had a really good view. And I got some really good pictures, actually, of mostly JB is who I was taking pictures of. But I took pictures of everyone whenever they came close or were doing something really cute. But yeah, it was just really fun to see them just have fun at such a huge stage. And they were all just really hyped. And JB was being a complete weirdo. It was wonderful. I don't know if you guys have seen fan cams of this, but he was just being so silly and weird and just kind of dancing weirdly. It was fun to watch. And they sounded good. There was like one mic problem in the beginning, but that was easily, I guess, it was fixed eventually. Yeah, JB is so ridiculous. And it was really nice to see them all also try to communicate to fans in English. So I think a lot of you guys know Ashley Epidemic on YouTube. I actually got to meet up with her during this concert, and we all stayed at my friend's place in LA for the night. And it was really nice to meet her for the first time and just talk about GOT7 and not the whole hard stand thing my friend was doing. It was kind of uncomfortable talking to her sometimes about GOT7, I will admit. Yes, the other two Ash. So that was really lovely to talk to her in person, and she was really nice. If you guys haven't met her yet. But she was telling me about her experience seeing GOT7 because she's seen them multiple times and how much they've grown. And we talked also after the concert about their growth and just all of them putting such an effort in improving their performance and their live singing and just interacting with fans and speaking in English. And JB kind of had this little speech that he was reserving for the end in English. And it was just, it was so just really cute at the end. I'm very much a soft JB stan, for those who do not know. She did you dirty for BTS? How? Or, okay, sarcastically. I see. Did you guys hang out, right, at BTS or no? Is that what you're referring to, Ashley? Oh, she ran. Oh, did she have to go to another stop? Maybe that was why. That was too bad. Yeah, she had to fly out the next morning, so she actually left before I woke up, which is understandable because we didn't get to bed till like 3 a.m. in the morning. I felt really bad because my friend was insistent on going to this wings place or this Korean chicken place, but I guess but they were closed even though they're typically open on Fridays up till like 1 a.m. But my guess is they went to the GOT7 concert, so they decided to close for the day. So we went to there's this tofu house that's really, I'm forgetting the acronym that goes in front of it. That's really famous and it's open 24/7. Yes. The place Mason and I went to actually for lunch, we went to the headquarters. So I didn't order the tofu soup again. I ordered something else. But yeah, we stayed up really late and after eating, and she had to like leave for like a 8 o'clock flight after going to bed at 3 in the morning. So I felt bad. So Ashley was saying that you're going to the same place, but okay, she was afraid of leaving the station. Took off running. Oh, you just stayed. You guys met up eventually at the same place, or no? Yes, Mason. I went to the same place. I was like, are we really going to eat here again? Or I was telling her that I had that for lunch, and we tried going to these other places that were like, it was past midnight at that point. And we're like, let's just go here. And I was like, fine, I'll just order something else, which I did. And it was a good meal. Though I felt like the place Mason and I went to, I don't know what location it was. It was it was more of like a strip mall location across from where the shopping mall with Music Plaza. That one, I felt like they were friendly there. The other place, they're a little bit more snooty. I don't know. I didn't feel as, I don't want to say as welcomed, but I kind of, I think they kind of looked at us and they were like, oh, you came from a K-pop concert. That sort of feeling. And there are other people there after, too, I think, who came back from GOT7. They were talking very loudly about everything. So maybe I can't really blame them for that sort of reception when we came in. Okay. Oh, bye. I guess one Ashley. Oh gosh, how do I refer to you guys other than your username? But thank you for staying and sticking around. It's been, oh gosh, almost an hour and a half of me just rambling and trying to coherently talk about things. And yes, you need to catch up on Walk of Love. So that's the drama I got Ashley to watch with me, with Junho in it. It's his second drama where he's the main lead, and it's amazing. If you haven't watched it yet, it's kind of a romantic comedy, but it's more mature. And yes, Ashley says it's great too. So it's not just me being biased over Junho, with me saying it's great. I'm always cautious to say like recommendations for dramas, especially if it has Junho or a 2PM member in it, because I feel like people won't take my recommendation seriously. But honestly, Junho is great. He's a good actor. He's in a lot of good projects. You guys should watch his dramas. So I'll just say that. And oh, that's right, Ashley. I remember you and Jazzy went to see Monster X. That's cool. Oh, you guys went to McDonald's? Oh. At least you guys found food though. Like I know there's some venues that are like in the middle of nowhere. They're not really in the middle of nowhere, but there's not many options afterwards. And at least McDonald's is cheap. The tofu house place I went to was kind of on the pricey side, which I shouldn't. But it was still good. But yes, that was GOT7. It was fun to see them live. I recommend seeing them live. I think they're really good performers, and I get to see them growing or continuing to grow, which I guess you could say that for most K-pop groups who come here and tour like multiple years. But I would say GOT7 was one of my more or I've seen a lot of K-pop concerts, but GOT7 was definitely one of the more enjoyable ones I've been to. I've seen some groups that are very high up my bias list, but I didn't enjoy the concert as much as after seeing GOT7. I don't know if that's just because of the venue, because it was huge, and you just kind of feed off the energy when you go to these concerts. And I don't know, it's kind of tough to say, I think, for some of those things. But yes, I highly recommend to check out GOT7 whenever they come back, if you're kind of considering to go or not. But that was most of the concert talk. I don't know what else to discuss. Do you guys want to talk about anything else with me? I could definitely go on for a little bit more. I'm not really hungry yet. It's 7:30 here and I haven't had dinner yet, but I feel like my food schedule has been just off since coming back from Japan. Oh, are you sleepy, Ashley? I guess it is getting late where you are at 10:30. Have you guys been watching anything, like show-wise or animes or whatnot? For me, I've just been watching Walk of Love and Secretary Kim, or What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, for the obvious 2 p.m. member participation, though both those dramas are really fun. What's Wrong with Secretary Kim is actually getting a lot of good press right now, and it's a lot of fun, even though I was a little worried when starting it since it sounded super cliche. Yeah, I need to catch up with My Hero Academia. I didn't watch the latest episode. I think I got up to 13. But it's been a very fun season to watch. I even watched it for 3 weeks. That's like the most like exciting part I found, or at least the most intense part was that sequence. I would say the past month or so. Yeah, it's been intense. You should watch it. I could see you just binge it in an hour. You could also talk about Comic-Con if you guys want, since I will be going for the 7th time this year. Comic-Con's a lot of fun, and honestly, I feel like I've been less in touch with American pop culture. I guess I touched on this earlier. But the reason why I go every year, even though it keeps getting bigger and it keeps getting kind of more tiring to go every year, is mostly because it's my chance to kind of catch up with some friends from high school who I don't really see often. So that's why I like to go every year. And it's also an opportunity, or more of an opportunity, to kind of catch up on what is happening in American pop culture. So I kind of get reconnected with it, and I might find like a show or something I might want to watch instead of being stuck in kind of the Korean entertainment and Japanese entertainment sort of stuff. But I did share this on Twitter. I've been making my costume because this is the first year my group of friends wants to do kind of a group cosplay. And we decided to do characters from Studio Ghibli movies. And so I wanted to do Howl's Moving Castle. And when I was in Japan, they have something called the Ghibli Museum, which I talked about in my last live, as well as other Ghibli themed stores. So I was trying to find something like from Howl's Moving Castle that I can incorporate in a costume, but there was like 0 things Howl's Moving Castle related. I went to multiple Ghibli stores. It was sad. Oh, good night, Ashley. Sleep well. And thank you for hanging out and fending off all of the trolls that popped up. That was ridiculous. But because I couldn't find anything in Japan, which I can't believe, is Howl's Moving Castle not popular in Japan? That's kind of my only explanation of why there wasn't very much Howl's Moving Castle compared to all the other Ghibli sort of franchises, or whatever you call them. But I ended up just making my own little Calcifer plushie. So I just shared this, I think, last night. And I'm proud of it. There's this like blog that has a lot of like pattern making stuff. So I ended up just making this out of felt. I think theirs is a bit more complicated if you want to use like fleece and things and make it with nice stitching. But I used felt and a hot glue gun to glue on the applique. And so I'm going to be Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle. So I have a dress and everything. I might share pictures on Twitter with you all, though I really don't like taking pictures of myself. Oh, thank you. If you look up closely, it's not totally neat, but I feel like the felt disguises a lot of the mistakes I made. So it looks pretty nice, I will say myself. But yes, I have all the elements for my costume, but I think maybe on Saturday is when we're going to be doing our group cosplay. It's either going to be Saturday or Friday. We haven't decided yet. So I'll see if I could take pictures, and we might have some group pictures, and you can see what my friends are dressed up as well. One of which is the GOT7 friend who, the one I was talking about earlier, the hard stand. So you might, you'll know what she looks like. I won't say which one she is. I don't know. She'll probably be embarrassed if she knew I was talking about her. You missed a little bit, Sana. It was mostly just me rambling, honestly. But yes, I'm going to do a group cosplay for Comic-Con in San Diego, and I'm going to be Sophie from Housing Castle and holding up my little Calcifer felt plushie thing I made. So yes. Well, I really probably should eat dinner. Even though I'm not hungry, I should force myself to eat to get my eating schedule back on track. But it was nice talking to you guys. Hopefully you found this live interesting, and I felt like it went a little bit better than last time. Last time I was very jet lagged, and I couldn't figure out how to do a live stream on my phone, to be honest. So it was a bit of a mess. But this time I think they went a little bit better. So I'll be keeping this up if you guys want to watch whatever I said earlier in the video. You may do so. But yeah, I think I will end this live now, and I could do ones in the future. I don't know what I'll do them about, but if I'm too lazy to do like a haul video or something, I might decide to do one of these. Though I do kind of like the controlled editing software made videos more. They look a little bit more professional than this. But yes, so I'm going to sign off and see you guys later. So good night or good morning, wherever you guys are. I think most of you guys are in the US, so good night.